Oh, okay. Right. So, can you guys tell me if any of you have already, because I know that Chaba has not come to Israel yet, but some of you, is anyone already here in Israel?
I am
Shira, how long have you been here?
about a year.
About a year. Okay. So you've already felt what's going on here in the workplace, right? So you've gotten some kind of,
I'm a PhD student right now, and I'm not working, so no.
mm, so no. Okay. So this is important because we do want to know what our rights and are, and also what we have to do as employees. So I'm going to start this talk, and you can stop me and ask questions at any point, okay? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So, right. Uh, it ran away from me. Do you know who these are? Well, it's an old pic, but and maybe some of them are no longer here, but they are the judges from the labor courts. And the reason that I'm showing you their picture is because in Israel, there's a difference between normal court and labor court. Okay? I don't know how it is in other countries. Do you know how it is in your country?
Not really.
No? Okay. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same, that the judges maybe go in and sort of they might get a case that has to do with employees and employers, etc., etc., anything to do with labor law. And in Israel, though, it is a separate court. Now, the interesting thing about it in Israel is that the law in Israel is, well, everywhere. It's very complicated. But in Israel, first of all, and this is everywhere, right? First, there's the law that that was written, and then there are precedents, the decisions made by previous courts, and then there are collective agreements. In Israel, there's a special thing called collective agreements, which means that certain groups, like certain industries, will have collective agreements, and automatically whoever works in that industry has a to right and obligation to those collective agreements. Okay, so if, for instance, let's take an example. Let's say, for instance, that you work in the hotel industry. Okay, if you're working in the hotel industry, there's certain rules that are different for the hotel industry, and therefore they have specialized contract for that collective, for that industry, that will only be applicable to people working for that industry. Like, for instance, hours in hotels, you need to work at night, right? It doesn't happen in a lot of other industries. So those are the kind of things um, that are specifically written for special groups. And the last and final one, and this is in a hierarchy, right? Because the most important is the top one, and then it goes down, down, down. And the personal contract is the last one, okay? That has the least power out of those four. Now, the labor laws in Israel are a group of laws, and I will just say the following. These laws cover vacation days, minimum wage, wage protection, employee notification, prior notice. All of these things are part of what the law talks about, right? How many hours of work, how many hours of rest, prior notice, etc., etc., and etc. But take a look at this list. Okay, can you take a look at this list? It's crazy, right? That is the list of laws that in Israel are connected to labor laws. They're different separate laws. For instance, there's a different separate law for minimum wage. There's a separate different law for women's work. There's a different one for resting. So there's this whole list, the very complicated list of all these laws, and the whole of it together make up the Israeli labor law. I know this is a little bit boring, but it's very, very important to get the hang of this before we continue. Okay. So in Israel, in order to be able to demand anything according to those labor laws, you have to prove that there is an employee-employer relationship. Okay? And that sounds easy, right? If I'm an electrician and I do work, and most of my work is at, let's say, Intel, but I'm independent. Am I an independent worker, or do I work for Intel? What do you want to, can you guess? As an independent contractor.
As far as I think, you are independent. Just you have a client for whom you work.
Okay, so that's a great instance of looking at it. The funny thing is that it is not that simple. Okay, and we will go into it very, very briefly because it is very complicated. But in Israel, as an employee, you deserve to get your minimum wage, those the holidays, and there's a lot of other things that you're supposed to get, travel expenses. You've got what they called me'avra'ah, which is sort of like a refreshment money that you can get after a year. You have a lot of and by the by, if you are working for more than a year, they have to give you notice before they fire you. Okay, and they have to give you a specific amount of notice, and they have to pay you sort of like specific damages, we can call it, okay, per year of work. Now, all of those things don't cover and they don't apply to independent workers. So if I am an electrician and I pull out a receipt at the end of every month to Intel, then I'm an independent contractor and I won't get all those extras, right? So sometimes, though, you need to look at other criteria in order to determine whether you are an employee or whether you're not. Okay? And it's important in order for you to get all your rights and all the payments that you are due. Now, what I wanted to say as well before we continue is that this one. There's a that's just hold on a second. Okay. I'm talking about I want to talk about the protective laws. In Israel, there are certain laws that are protective. That means, for instance, okay, minimum wage. You can go to an employer can come to you and say, listen, Chaba, I will pay you 5,000 shekels and you will work for me. And you say, okay, that's good. And you're willing to accept less than the minimum wage. Okay. The issue is that you are not allowed to waive your right. So even if you do say yes, even when you do say yes, you still have the right to get that money even retroactively. Okay, so any employer that comes to you and says to you, listen, instead of taking everywhere else there's a minimum wage of 6,400 shekels, but I will give you 5,000 so you can start working tomorrow. And you say, well, I gotta eat, so I'm going to take that, right? And the government says, no, that's not the way it works. We've got laws in this country. He has to pay you 6,443 shekels or 46 shekels, okay? Right? And that's important because some of the laws, these protective laws, will protect you because you cannot waive those rights. You cannot say, I'm willing to give those rights up. Okay? So, we're talking about the cogent rights here, and we also talked about collective bargaining agreements, which is for groups, the industries, and we were talking about this. Okay. Okay. So in Israel, you can actually claim that you are an employee, even though you were an independent contractor and you signed an agreement. And I want to tell you a story, okay? There was this guy who was working for a sort of like a theater company, right? Where they have shows, okay? And he worked there, and he used to he got his pay as an independent contractor, and he would get his payment and give a receipt for those payments. But one day, the guy who hired him said, I can't continue with you, and he had to let him go. And so he was sued in court. And the guy who was working for him said, yeah, I know that I have an agreement and I asked for payment, but this is not I wasn't really an independent contractor. I was an employee, and therefore I should be getting severance pay and the whole package, right? Because I am an employee. And so the courts came along and said, what is the story here? Can we do anything about this? How do we know if someone is an employee or an independent contractor? And they built certain criteria that will allow you to actually see whether you're an employee or an independent contractor, for instance, okay? An independent contractor normally has a lot of clients, right? Yes, no?
Yeah.
You agree, you don't agree? Can you think of other things that an independent contractor would be different from an employee?
Making your tax himself.
Probably have to do his own tax.
An employee has to do his own tax.
Yeah, the contractor.
The contractor has to have his own taxes. Yeah, but even as an employee, you can do a sort of a end of year taxes and report them, and you're responsible for your taxes because you could be working in two places as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
So you would still need to fill those forms and give them in, and the whole tutti. Okay, so it's nice thought. I like the way you're going, but try more. What other options are there that makes the difference between maybe an employee and an independent contractor? I'll give you a hint. An electrician that comes to your house to fix it, do you provide him with all the tools and stuff?
No, he has to bring his own tools, of
He
course.
has to bring his own stuff, right? But an employee, what does he do?
He's using the company tools because he's empty.
Exactly. He goes into work and he has his own company tools, right? He gets everything from the company, okay? So far we've got two different criteria. There are others, but what has turned out to be an interesting question is, in order to get your severance pay, some people that were forced to be independent contractors managed to prove that they were employees, and then they managed to get it retroactively. They claimed the recognition retroactively, and they're given all the severance pay and whatever they were supposed to get. So there's another, so this guy that I was talking about, this guy in the who was working for the theater, when he was let go, managed to prove that he came every day. He didn't have other jobs, and all the tools were there. He was there. So he actually won the case, and he got assigned retroactively being an employee and got all his severance pay package, which is very important if you are if you're interested in accepting a job but you're not sure about this, right? And today companies know about this more because they understand this now. And in order for you to be able to demand this, your pay has to be mostly standard, okay? That's another criteria. For instance, an electrician that comes to your house, does he take a small pay or big pay?
Independent or employee?
No, I'm talking about an independent contractor. If he comes to your house, it's a private job.
Take the big money, of course. You're gonna
It's
charge
big money, right? Right.
charge
Okay.
you
So it's a lot more than
$2.
it's a lot more than the 50 shekels an hour,
Yes.
right? That's it. Okay. So that's another way of looking at it as well. So, okay. אסיה, אני חושבת שכל הזה שלי זז קדימה, אחורה, אחורה, קדימה. אני לא מסודרת כאן. אני לא מסודרת כאן פה. Okay, I'm going to jump this at the moment. Do you want this information about your employee rights during the candidate process? When you're actually applying for a job and you're going to interviews, etc., etc.?
No, you're welcome. You're welcome to tell us.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah?
Of course,
Okay.
of course, yeah.
Okay. So I will take a detour and talk about this because in Israel there are equal rights laws, and you have the right to not be sort of what's the word, discriminated against, okay, based on age, sex, personal status. You see the list is huge, right? Race, religion, nationality, country of origin, etc., etc. So I'm going to give you an example of a situation where someone was discriminated for one of those things. And it's a very interesting story. A young lawyer applies for a job at a law firm. And he goes for an interview, and it really goes well. And then he talks to the owner of the firm, and he says to him, I have to go to the army to do the army You know, every miluim, every Israeli who finishes the army and he's under a certain age, the reserves, exactly. So he has to do once a year some training, right?
Reservist army, reservist service.
What do they call it? Reservist what?
Reservist service. The reservist service. Sharut Miluim.
Oh, people, that's what happens when a fly lands on the eye of the camera. You didn't see me. You saw the fly. Okay, so so it's reservist service. So he told him that. And now this young man was clever enough to record the conversation. And he was told by that lawyer, and despite the fact that he's a lawyer and he should know the law, right? He told him, oh, because you're doing army, no, I need someone who will be here and will not go to, who will not do the service. And because in Israel that is protected, it is discrimination. Okay, you cannot in Israel decide not to hire someone because part of the year they have to be reservists. Okay. He of course sued and won the case, right? Of this discrimination. It was hysterical because it's a lawyer who didn't care and just, blurted whatever he thought, which is interesting. But there are other things, like, for instance, criminal record. You're not allowed to be asked questions, for example, like, do you have a criminal record? But there are exceptions to every one of those, okay? If, for instance, you're going into the police, or if you're going into teaching children, then there are things that they need to know, okay? And one of them would be, do you have a criminal record? Because in Israel, you cannot be a teacher if you have a criminal record. Okay? So again, if you're being hired at Intel as an engineer and you have a criminal record, they cannot ask you that question. But if you're going to something like, for instance, a security company, then they have to know, okay? And it will be legal for them to ask that question. So under certain circumstances, those questions are illegal, and other circumstances, those questions are not legal. Questions so far? No questions?
Yeah, why not? You guys have anything like they call the union?
The
Over
what?
here, union.
Yes, we do.
So do you have a union over there?
We have unions. There is, I will touch this later on, but every person has the right to unite and create a union in this country. You have the right to create your own union. The employer is not allowed to interfere, is not allowed to do anything. There have been cases where they did, and was illegal. So yeah, so you do have. There's also a sort of like a national union of workers in Israel that represent a lot of the workers in Israel. But most companies would have their own inner union. Like the banks have unions, and every organization will have its own union.
Or the employers have a union as well, or just the employees?
The employers have industry, sort of like industry, what's the word? Sort of like a industry, so like the tourism board, let's say, okay? And it's like all the big tourist companies that are sort of running this and lobbying together and doing all sorts of things in government, you know, sort of like connecting as an industry in order to do something, to get whatever it is that they want to get, whatever rights that they're trying to get. So there is such a thing for employers, but it's not called the union. It's called something else.
Something else.
It's called, it's actually called Igud. נכון? Asya? It's called Igud, so it is a union.
את מתכוונת לוועד עובדים?
לא, ועד עובדים זה היוניון שהוא מדבר עליו,
כן.
ובארץ יש חלוקה, יש ועד עובדים ויש איגוד.
הסתדרות
מקצועי,
הכללית?
הסתדרות כללית, איגוד מקצועי, professional union. There is a thing called professional unions. Okay?
Yes.
In Israel, the union is not called a union, it's called the employee.
אני תכף אסתכל איך מתרגמים את זה.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about being discriminated upon. If you're a woman,
association, הוא נותן professional association.
Professional association. Okay. Yeah. It's an association, not a union. Yeah. Okay.
אבל מה זה רוצה, כאילו, היוניון הזה, כאילו, מה זה נותן שהוא קיים?
סליחה, לא הבנתי את השאלה.
מבחינת הזכויות העובדים כמעט וכלום. אני שואלת, מה האיגודים המקצועיים האלה נותנים לעובדים עצמם? זה יותר לארגונים.
No, it is important because it is important in the sense that that is where the industry standards are created. So those contracts that I was talking about, like industry contracts, right, that are applicable to certain workers in certain industries, mostly are being created with those associations talking to government and creating those specific contracts. Industry contracts is what they're called, right?
I didn't understand very simple. Wait, no, I don't understand like how it helps to employ what they exist. Like, what do we do? איך זה משפיע עליי שכם כאלה? כאילו, אם אני נגיד עובדת, או הפוך, נגיד פותחת עסק שלי ומעסיקה אנשים, או נגיד סתם פותחת עסק שלי, איך זה עוזר לי שזה קיים? כאילו, מה הם עושים? מה התפקיד שלהם?
Okay, so the job of the association, the industry association, is to unite that industry, those people in the industry, to give them more power, just like the union would be for employees. So in a sense, the stronger they are, the more power they have. And as an employee, you might be hurt by that. Okay. But on the other hand, sometimes out of those things are born different contracts, industry contracts that might actually be better in certain instances for that industry. It's like, basically it would be like that association talking to all the unions in the industry and having a sort of a sit down and getting contracts set up that are relevant to the industry. Okay. For example, again, I'm going to use police, for instance. Okay. Police cannot say that they don't want to work at night, or that they don't want to work on Saturday, or whatever it is. Okay. Because they're the police. They have to work 24/7 and their hours are different, and their the whole rest and Sabbath and whatever is completely different for them than others, because it's the police. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in a sense, it does affect you as an employee, but it definitely is supposed to be for the betterment of the employer, not the employee. So you've got it right in a sense, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know if I managed to get across the message properly.
You sure did.
Rima, did I manage, or am I still not?
No, but I will search by myself, נראה לי.
אוקיי. בסדר.
כאילו בגדול, לפי מה שהבנתי, שזה פשוט כאילו איחוד של העובדים, שכביכול הם יכולים איכשהו להשפיע על מעסיק או על זכויות שלהם בעצמם. נכון הבנתי?
זה לא. יש לך את האיגוד עובדים, יש לך ועד עובדים, שהתפקיד שלהם זה להתאגד כדי להילחם נגד המעסיק, או לנהל איתו משא ומתן כשיש כוח מאחוריהם, כי כל הקבוצה מתאגדת, ואז הם יכולים להשיג את המטרות שלהם, תנאים יותר טובים וכו' וכו', בסדר? מצד שני, יש את האיגוד המקצועי, שזה למשל האיגוד של התיירות, כן? או איגוד היועצים הפיננסיים, בסדר? יש הרבה איגודים כאלה, והמטרה הזו זה לנהל משא ומתן עם הממשלה, עם גורמים, עם פוליטיקאים, כדי להשיג תנאים טובים יותר כקבוצה עסקית, כן? לא כקבוצה של עובדים, קבוצה עסקית, בסדר? אבל לפעמים מתוך הדבר הזה נולדים הסכמים קיבוציים שבעצם מושתת על כל אותו קבוצה, על כל אותה תעשייה. בסדר?
יש לי הרבה מה להבין, כן.
כן, it's complicated, yeah, I'm sorry, it is complicated.
לא, אני הבנתי, I understood what you say, but I think what I need to search more what it means like good and things like that and how it works.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I think that different ones would work differently, but yeah, certainly do that. It's a good thing to go into. Okay, so I'm thinking what else would be relevant to you, but I think I'll take the married with children option, okay? During an interview, an employer cannot ask you personal questions like, are you married? And do you have children, and how old are they? Because when he does that, what does that mean?
There's discrimination.
Right?
No?
Because he wants to know if you've got small children, maybe you won't come to the work, to work, maybe they'll be sick, right? So he's looking for the information to make a decision based on the fact that you're a mother with small children, for instance. Okay, so he might want to discriminate. Now, he's not allowed to do that, but what can he do? He should instead ask the question, would you be able to commit to working 9 to 5, Mondays to Fridays? Okay, because at the end of the day, that's what he's afraid of, right? He's afraid that the mother would have sick children and then she won't come to work. What he can ask is, can she come to work? Okay, will she be able to come to work on time every day during the week? Okay, and that is sort of, that's a legal question, whereas the other ones were not legal. Okay, same thing to do with army, same thing to do with criminal record, same thing, right? You're not allowed to ask those kind of questions. Okay, now if you are in the interview process and you're applying at a company who's bigger than 25 workers, then they have to let you know what the status is. If it's a small company, they don't need to get back to you and say, listen, we've decided to go with someone else. But if it's a big company, they have to do that. It's the law. Okay? The only problem with it is that it doesn't tell them when they need to do that. And sometimes most of the times you just understand yourself because they won't get back to you. And the next bit is, if anyone says to you, I will help you find a job, pay me money, that is illegal. Okay? It's illegal in this country to demand money from people who are looking for a job. The money has to come from the employer, not the employee. Okay? Those are things you should know.
I'm sorry, what I do if they ask if I served in the army in the interview and I didn't, and it's not allowed for them to ask, but they ask what I do. It's like what I do during the interview.
Okay.
You cannot ask me that question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm stepping forward the hiring process in that sense.
Here's the shtick, okay? Because there's what you can do and there's what you want to do. Okay? Because what you can do is record the interview and then sue them for asking that question. That's what you can do. Okay?
Is it
That's an
legal to
option.
record? Is it
Yeah, you
legal to
can.
record the
You can.
interview?
The law in Israel is as long as the party who's recording is part of the conversation. I cannot go into a room, leave a recording, a recorder on, leave the room and record other people when I'm not in there. But if I'm in there, if I'm part of the conversation, if I'm on the phone and I'm talking to someone, I have the right to record that person, to record the conversation, and I don't have to tell you about it either. Okay? Unlike the States, which does. Okay? So in this country, you can record it. So you can go into an interview, record the employer, and then sue the hell out of them. Okay? But the question is it going to get you what you want? And chances are it's not. So in this instance, I would ask you, why did you not serve in the army in Israel?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Because I wasn't there during that time.
Because you made Aliyah afterwards, right? You were too old to be accepted to the army.
Too old, yes.
So just say that. Say, I made Aliyah at a much later age, and I wasn't required to do it. Simple as that.
Okay, of course.
Okay, great. Sometimes the simple truth is the best option, right? It's not okay. Okay, now here's an interesting case. In this case, a candidate was asked illegal questions. You'll have to work like a man. How many children do you have? Are you planning to be married? Are you planning to have children? There are trips to this and to that, and I need you to know that you can do it without worrying about your children, blah, 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 blah. All those statements, all those elements are so illegal that obviously, right, you understand that guy paid a hefty sum and lost his trial, right? It's important to know that. Also, there's another thing as well. Oh, that was interesting. Yeah. There's another case that's very, very interesting, but I think I'll talk about it later. Okay. 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 So you don't have to tell an employer that you're pregnant if you're applying for a job. Is it relevant to anyone here?
No.
Or can we move on? So basically, when you're working, either in the interview process or even when you work, you are not allowed to fire a woman who's pregnant, and because she's pregnant. Okay, I will add that bit, because she's pregnant, and you cannot not accept a candidate because she's pregnant. Okay. So the idea is that if an employee tells the employer that she's pregnant and then she gets fired, that is a case for discrimination. Okay? Questions? Or can I move forward? Moving forward. Okay. Now, guys, this is very important, okay? Because when you start working, a lot of the time, Israelis like to do shortcuts and they don't give you an agreement, a contract, a working contract, okay? You need to know that they are obligated. They're obligated to give you a notification, sort of like an agreement, with all the information, with all the relevant information. What is your position? What's the title? What are you supposed to do? Who you're answering to? What the salary is? When your starting date is, etc., 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 in order to make it sort of like clear, okay? And he has to do this within the first 30 days, okay? So within a month, the employer has to provide you with an agreement. If he doesn't do that, okay? So I'm not going to add at the end, you can sue him, because that's given, right? You can always sue someone. Okay, let's move forward. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, this is case is bloody interesting, okay? There's this guy who applied for a job and he was accepted. They were very excited about him starting the job. And before he started the job, he told them, I'm going to go for a month, sort of like I'm going to go overseas for a month, come back, and then I'm going to start working. And everything was fixed with them. Everything was on the up and up. And he gave in his resignation. He left his job, went on his holidays, and suddenly when he's on his holidays, he's getting a SMS that they change their minds and they don't want him to work for them after he's resigned, after he's taken his leave, and the whole tutti. And so turns out, and he heard that someone that knew him talked behind his back, and because of that, they canceled their agreement. And so he took them to court because basically this is a promise and an expectation, right? And he didn't get the work, and he was fired. After being accepted, he was fired without cause and without being given any kind of notice. Do you think, does it sound right to you? Does it sound not right? What do you think? What's your thoughts about this? I'm going to start saying anyone, like
Did he receive the agreement before he was traveling?
Yes, he
Okay.
signed the agreement.
So whatever it was in the agreement, but I think it was okay that he received the compensation, because according to the agreement, he should have started to work after the
Exactly. Right. So basically, he was compensated for them breaking their agreement without giving him notice. Okay. Because he gave up a job, because they didn't tell him about this, because they didn't give him a chance to defend himself. There were a lot of things that they did badly on the way, which is why they got hit with 100,000 shekel payment restitution. Okay, so that was a very, very interesting case. That's the case. Okay. Okay. So we know that the minimum wage regulates the amount of salary you're supposed to get per month, per hour, per day. Okay. In Israel, from the 1st of April, and I'm giving you the new numbers, the old numbers are a little bit less than that. Okay. So it's still not this number, but from the 1st of April, we're in March. So it's like in 15 days, the minimum wage will be up to 6,443.85 cents. Okay, monthly. The hourly is 35.4 up. And then you've got the difference between daily for 6 days and daily for 5 days. The difference between them is that on 6 days you work less hours than 5 days. 5 days you probably work 9 hours, and on 6 days you work 8 hours. Okay? Okay. There is a wage protection law. So your employer cannot withhold your salary. He cannot turn around to you and say, I'm not giving you your money. Okay? He cannot do that. It's illegal for him to do that. And if he does that, he has to pay compensation for every day that he misses that he does not pay. Okay? And it's pretty steep. So the problem in Israel is that it does happen because Israel is like the Wild West of labor law. So with cowboys and Indians. So there is a lot of situations where people assume that you might be weaker, less understanding of the situation, and then they might withhold your salary. Okay, so you should know that it is illegal. They cannot not pay you. And if they have failed to pay you or the minimum wage or the overtime, then you can definitely demand reparations for it. Okay. And again, there's a date by which they have to pay you. So the date is the 9th of each month for the previous month. Okay, so if you're working there on April, you have to get your salary by the 9th of May. The 10th of May, it's actually, but the 9th, right? Okay. Questions? Okay.
If there is a contract between you, employee and employer, and it is written that they have to pay only on the 15th of every month, is it possible, or the law is more serious and they should pay?
They cannot extend it to 15 days. That's the law. It's 10 days. I'm not saying that they might not do it, that they might not be a day or two late. Most companies that are run properly will pay you a day or 2 days or 3 days or even on the 1st of the month. Okay? Because they run properly and they will follow the letter of the law. It's not legal. Okay? It's not legal to go beyond 10 days. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Right. Because the compensation, I don't know if it's just Israel or other places as well, but because the compensation is complicated, there's a lot of items on there. Like it could be overtime, there's holidays, there's sick days. There's so many items in there. They have to provide you with a slip, with a payment slip every month. Okay, because you need to know where your money is going to. You need to make sure, for instance, that they pay the taxes to the government on your behalf. Okay, because that's what they're supposed to do. A company has to pay your taxes on your behalf. They have to pay pension into a pension fund on your behalf. And you have to see all those details so that you can check it and that you have the paper trail, right? So that you've got proof. So they cannot not provide you with that. And then there's all sorts of other issues. For instance, if you owe money to the company, okay, they cannot withhold your salary from you unless you've signed an agreement whereby you allow them to take the money out of your salary every month or whatever. Say you take a loan from the company, okay? There are situations where some companies will provide a loan to workers, and then they have to sign an agreement that they will deduct that amount every month. Okay? But they cannot do it without your okay. No questions, right? Excellent. Okay. Okay, hours of work and rest. Oh, that's the most important, right? Because we all want to rest, right? So this law regulates the workday, the working week, the rest hours, etc., etc. Okay. Oh, and freedom of religion, of course, okay? For instance, you're allowed to pray 3 times a day if that's what you want to do, okay? And they cannot tell you not to do this. They cannot say to you, you can't do that, okay? You have the freedom to practice your religion, and therefore things like praying, in Israel, for instance, the Muslims will get the Muslim holidays, the Christians the Christian holidays, and the Jews the Jewish holidays. Okay, so each one will get their holiday according to the law, plus the Jewish holidays. Okay, they get 2. Okay, right. So okay, I think I skipped something, right? Skipped several things. Okay, there we go. Okay. So you're entitled to not work from Friday afternoon until Sunday morning. Okay? 36 hours is, does that make sense? 36 hours. Friday afternoon, maybe to Saturday evening. Possible. Okay? But this is to allow you to rest on the Sabbath. Okay? And excuse me. Okay. And then again, work hours and breaks. If you're working 8 hours, you have several short breaks and you have a time to go to lunch. The question, of course, is whether the company pays you, excuse me, for your breaks or not. So the short breaks, they do have to pay you for. The long breaks for lunch, if you're required to stay on site because you're still doing something and you need to be responsible for something, they have to pay you for that time. Otherwise, you have the right to sign out, go for an hour's break, eat wherever you want, do whatever you want, and come back after an hour. Okay? Did that make sense?
Yeah.
The difference.
Regis,
Yeah.
Well, if I want to go to a break, like I can take how many minutes it's short break, and how, like if it's an hour, we need to pay me or not? If I
No.
left,
Yeah. So I think it's not a matter whether they have to pay you or not. They don't have to pay you for your lunch hour, okay? Unless they require you to stay and work sort of like you need to remain close in case they need you. Okay? So you can't leave.
Only if I can't leave, if I need
Only
to
if
pay.
you can't leave. Yeah. If you can close the door, walk out of the company, go to, I don't know, go to a beauty store and sit there for like a massage for 45 minutes and come back, and nobody's bothering you on that time, then they don't have to pay you. Okay?
And
So if it's
the
your
short
own
break.
time and you're allowed to go out, they don't have to. But if it is, then yes. But again, different industries, there's certain industries where they do have to pay the lunch hour, and it's some of those industries, especially like physical labor, it's after 6 hours they're allowed to get an hour's break for lunch.
How many time you need to go until I can go to a break? Like it's 8 hours, 6 hours. There is something what are wrote in the law, or it's like depends on the company and the
No,
job what
but
you do.
normally it depends on the company, but it doesn't come up as a problem because normally if people take 5-10 minute break every now and again, that's okay. Okay, it's supposed to be okay. You are supposed to be able to go out for 10-15 minutes twice a day.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
You are like 10 o'clock, you want to take a break, you want to go make yourself coffee, you need to go to the toilet. Those breaks they have to pay you for. And of course, you can go to the toilet / make coffee. Okay?
And how
But
much
those would be short breaks.
and the big break, how much time it need to take?
A big break could be a half an hour or an hour.
Mm-hmm. And
Depending.
when I can take it?
Well, that's basically up to the employer if he has those like some companies tell you walk like your lunch will be between 1 and 2. That's everybody takes a break between 1 and 2 because that's the way we do it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But other companies, no, you take it whenever you want your hour, but you need to make sure you know that your boss knows that you're leaving, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that
Thank
make
you.
sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So, okay. So as you can see, for 8 hours on a regular day, you can include several short breaks to restore your strength, your energy, but not including breaks whereby the employee is unavailable. Okay. If you have a night shift, it's 7 hours, not 8 hours. Okay. It's a 7, you work 1 hour less. Okay. The working hours per week are 42 hours. Okay. So you would have you need to have consecutive 36 hours break from like Friday until Sunday or from Thursday until whatever. Okay, but you need to have those you have to have those 36 hours consecutive. Okay. Again, it's like, for instance, if you're working a night shift, okay, and you're working until 7 o'clock, they can't say to you, come back in 3 hours for another shift, okay? Because you need to have the time to rest in between shifts, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope it does. Okay. Let's talk about overtime. Overtime is...
Sorry, Shirley. I have a
Yes,
question.
yes.
My mom
I like
like
questions.
she works like from 8 until 2, and after that he comes to a break like for 2 hours or something like that, and after that she returns to her work from 4 until 8, something like that.
You're
How
working
it
in a
needs to...
bank?
No, she doesn't work in a bank. She work in a store, like grocery store.
Okay. Okay.
So how it need to work if she has a break after that she need to it's like שעות נוספות after break, or it's simple
No,
another כאילו זה פשוט משמרת
no,
נוספת?
no. Because the idea is if she works from 8 until 2, that's 6 hours, right? Right? 8 until 2 o'clock, 6 hours. And then she takes 2 hours break. Does she have to be there when she's there for the 2 hours, or does she go home,
לא,
take a rest?
she can return home.
Okay, so she
היא
can
חוזרת.
go. Yeah, so she can go home, she can rest, not part of it. But she goes back at what time again?
4.
4 o'clock until 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So then and how many days a week does she work?
It depends, but 5.
5 days. Okay. So with 5 days, again, 42 hours a week. So it would be about like 9 hours on most days, and or 8.5 hours, I think it works out to. Okay. So anything beyond the 8 hours that she's working, she has to get paid overtime. Okay. So every day, the 4 until 6 is part of the hours, and then 6 to 8 is overtime. Okay.
Okay.
I need to actually
How
check the
much?
issue with. I need to check the issue with the exact amount of time, because they keep on changing. Okay, but definitely she's doing overtime. Definitely.
And
Okay.
how much is it need to be like short نصفات after 8 hours? Like it need to be 125 or 150?
Yeah.
How much? How it works? Like how we need to
Right.
know?
Okay. So it works like this. If you're working, the first 2 hours of overtime will be charged at 125%. Okay. So if you have 100 shekels an hour, then the ninth hour and the 10th hour, from 6 until 8, right? Because it's 2 extra hours, right? We agreed on that, right? Or didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's
No,
10
right.
hours altogether, right? And she's supposed to, let's say it's 8 hours. Okay, so she's supposed to work 8 hours. And so the 9th hour and the 10th hour, she's supposed to get 125 shekels for each hour. Okay. If she works longer than that, if she also works until 9 o'clock, the hour of that 9 o'clock, from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock, she will get 150 shekels for that.
Understood. And
Okay.
about
So it's like incremental.
ואם נגיד, if it works, like there is some cities where there is no איפה שאין מיסים כביכול, אין מע"מ, כמו נגיד ערד או אילת או עוד דברים כאלה. איך זה עובד מבחינת עבודה כביכול? מה לא מורידים ואם שווה לעבוד? ועוד לגבי שעות שבת, איך זה עובד ואיך צריכים לשלם? כי נגיד...
Wait.
כן.
If there are no taxes, what does that got to do with the price of eggs?
One more time?
What does like Eilat, okay, there's no 18% VAT, value added tax, right? What does that got to do with taxes in terms of salary?
מבחינת המשכורת, כאילו מה לא יורד? נגיד גם בערד יש הדבר הזה שכביכול לא מורידים עוד מס מסוים, איך זה עובד וכמה לא מורידים וכאילו איך זה עובד בכלל?
Okay.
וגם באילת, מה לא מורידים?
Okay, so I think maybe there's a confusion between value added tax that are added to goods and services that you buy versus salaries that you receive. Okay, salaries is mas הכנסה. Okay, and VAT is ma'am. Two different taxes, two different bodies that handle it.
אולי אני טועה, אז אולי יש ערים שגם שם אין מס הכנסה, או שלא, זה
No,
כאילו...
no, there is no such thing. But certain areas get extra points and extra credits, which means they will pay less because of the area. That does exist. Okay, so like if you work in a certain area, you might get less, you might be charged less taxes with, normally it's with a point system that they have, like women have 2 points, women with children, each child will get so and so points, okay? And then you get tax deductions. It's the same thing. It works the same way. Okay, but all of this has got nothing to do with VAT. It has to do with income tax. It's a different government body.
Income tax זה מס הכנסה?
Income tax זה מס הכנסה. VAT זה מע"מ. Two different things. Two different offices. Two different forms to fill.
איך לבדוק איזה...
different laws. What?
איך לבדוק באיזה ערים, נגיד, כמו שאמרתי, יש יותר...
There's, I'm going to be sending you a PDF with information, including contact information. One of the things that are written on that PDF is called Zchut, okay, which is a website that works with all the government agencies, and it gets all the information about your rights in every possible area in your life in Israel, okay? And most of this information is in English and probably in Russian and Arabic and whatever, and you will have the link.
Okay, thank you.
And you can look it up there.
Okay? And
plus you can look it up, you know, on income tax. Those areas you can sort of like search for it, income tax for Rahat or for Eilat.
מה זה income tax?
הטבות מס. It's called הטבות מס. Okay, it's like...
ולגבי שבת, כביכול, איך זה צריך לעבוד? יש כאלה שנגיד אמרו שאני משלם רק מתחילת השעות של שבת וגם סוף של שבת כביכול, ויש כאלה שאומרים אני משלם 2 ימים, אז מה כביכול, על מה צריכים לשלם וכמה צריכים לשלם?
I didn't understand, I'm sorry.
Okay, there is some employers who say you like I pay only short Shabbat like 150 only when Shabbat is started and after that when Shabbat is ended, like from 6 until I don't know 5 when Shabbat goes out, like you take a regular payment. So how it works? And how many % they need to give me? 150, 175, 20. I see here what you there is right, like 175 and 200. Like I didn't any time in my life I didn't gave 200. Like how I need to talk about it.
So when you work on holidays and on Sabbath, you are supposed to get the 175 and 200 respectively. And if you're not getting it, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of workers employers who try, and if you don't know your rights, then they can take advantage of you. It is possible.
Actually, when they need to pay me 2 days, like from Shishi until Shabbat, or only in the hours of Shabbat?
No, they have to pay you. No, when are you working? I'm not exactly following you. What time will on those days? What are your working hours?
נגיד, I start, I don't know. Now I take עבודה מועדפת, I go to any malon and I work in the hotel, okay? So they give me משמרת, like, I don't know how it works, but I will search and like they give me
Do you remember we talked about קיבוצים, contracts that are collective contracts, הסכמים קיבוציים?
Okay.
So the tourism industry, the hotel industry is under the tourism industry, and they have a different they have a different agreement because they have to work around the clock. They have different agreements. So you have to go into that industry in order to find out what the rights are and what they have to pay you. Okay? And it might be different. Most of the time, it's supposed to be minimum. It has to be at least what you're allowed to get according to the law. I mean, normally they give more, not less, but there would be other restrictions. Okay, so I would check that out, but I would check it out in the agreement, the kibbutz, the collective agreement.
רגע,
ההסכם
איפה אני יכולה
הקיבוצי.
למצוא את זה? כי רוב הזמן פשוט מנצלים רצח בעבודות האלה.
נכון,
פשוט כאילו שמים
נכון.
אותך ב-12 שעות משמרת ודברים כאלה, כאילו
Absolutely,
אומרים 40 בשעה, אז איך
absolutely.
עושים את זה? כי נגיד, כן אני רוצה לעשות משהו כזה, אבל
You
כאילו
write down
לנסות.
everything, and then when you leave, you sue them, is what you do.
לא, אבל כאילו, אם אני עוד לא התחלתי לעבוד ואני כן רוצה לדעת איך
מה
לא
הזכויות
ליפול
שלך?
לתוך זה.
Okay. So if you don't know what your rights are at the moment, then you have a thing called kavla oved. In English, it would be a line for the employee. And you can call them up and you can ask there's the actual lawyers there that know all about this, and they will be able to help you.
אוקיי,
Okay?
טוב. עוד פעם, לפי החוק.
Specifically for this, talk to me after and I'll give you the information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great.
According to overtime, I have a question. Is it legal that the employer doesn't allow you to work overtime because they don't want to pay for the extra
Yes,
work?
absolutely.
It's legal? Okay, thank you.
Okay, but he can't expect you to work. He cannot demand you work and then not pay you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
But if he says, listen, I don't want to pay you overtime, whatever you manage to finish in those 5 hours, that's what I want to pay. It's absolutely his prerogative.
Okay,
Okay, but then you need to learn to sort of like take your pen and drop it at 5 o'clock, whatever the time is. Okay,
yes.
So you don't work for him for free.
Yes, because it happened to me that we were allowed to have overtime, and one day they told us that it's not allowed anymore. So
Right.
it's legal. Okay.
It's legal for them to do that. Yeah, because you have to remember that sometimes a company will take a hit. It's tough times. They don't have the money to do that, so they can definitely say, listen, let's lower the expenses, and yeah, we don't need you to work overtime.
Clear.
As long as they don't demand you do the work, okay? Like stay overtime.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
Shirley, I have a question too regarding
Yes.
about overtime. Is it a limitation in overtime, or you can work much as you want overtime? In Sweden, there's 120 hours a year.
Oh, there's a limit?
I'm in a transport business. I'm driving heavy vehicles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, again, that would be collective agreements as well, because with driving, for instance, you can't work 8 hours because no one can drive 8 hours safely. So I think it's like you have to take a stop every 4 hours or every 6 hours. I don't know what the specifics are for but I know that there are standards
Regulations,
for truck driving and all that. For being a driver, okay, there are limitations, and you have to take those breaks, because if you don't take those breaks, they're done for your safety and everybody else's safety.
Of course, but overtime wise, can I do overtime?
In Israel, you can do as much overtime as you want.
All right, that's fantastic.
Okay, yeah. As long as you don't tell them that in 24 hours you've done 50 hours time, we're okay.
Of course.
Right? Okay, excellent. Okay, so here, working on holidays. If you agree to work on holiday because you wanted to do that, you will get 150% pay. If you're being forced, you get 250%. It's weird, right?
How
It's
can they
weird.
force me to do overtime?
So what they say to you is, I know you don't want to work, but we really need you to do that. And it's no option. We want you to work. Okay? We
איפה,
need this.
צריך שיהיה כתוב את זה איפשהו בחוזה או משהו כזה, או שאיך זה עובד?
מה זאת אומרת? What do you mean? What do you mean in the contract?
נגיד, I don't know, like if you're working in simple works like now, I don't know, in autos or ملצרות, and they say you need to
Okay.
work, like when you
Okay.
talk with them, you need to
I'm
work also
stopping
to
you.
the
I'm
auto.
stopping you right now. I'm stopping you right now
No?
because in the restaurant business, waitressing, it's like oh my God, I'm not going to teach you bad stuff. I was going to teach you a bad expression, but no, I won't. So a rude one, I meant. Okay, so there is so much illegal hanky-panky going on in the restaurant business. My niece worked for about 2 years as a waitress before she got this other job. And every time she would come and tell me something, and I said, oh my God, but it's against the law. Oh my God, but it's against, oh my God, it's against the law. And she says, yeah, but that's the way they do it. And I say, okay, well then sue them. And she says to me, no, I want to work. Okay, so the problem is that a lot of people want to work and they don't want to sue the company, the restaurant, whatever. And so, that's what they deal with the situation. They'll take it because it is better pay, even though, do you know what I'm saying? Even though it's better pay than going and doing something else. So they'll take that. But you can actually, if you record those things, if you do that, you can actually report them. You can report them to the authorities and you can sue them if they do that. And again, it's my favorite thing, you can sue, but nobody wants to go into, suing. A lot of the times it's better to just leave and find something better, unless we're talking about a lot of money that they owe you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
לא,
So the
אבל
restaurant business is like the Wild West. No rules. They don't follow any rules. It's a problem.
אז איך לדבר, כאילו, פשוט כאילו מה שהולך הולך, ולא להגיד להם כלום, כאילו? או שאיך בהתחלה לדבר איתם, איך בהתחלה להגיד שכאילו, אני לא פראיירית, אני יודעת שאתם צריכים לשלם לי 250, כאילו, אל תשלמו לי 100 וזהו.
What you can do is probably walk in and do it nicely, which would be, hi, I have a question. I spoke to my friend so-and-so and she said this and this and this, or I spoke to my friend who's a lawyer and he told me that ABC, and I just wanted to find out why there was there's a mistake, and I wanted to know how we can fix this. I would do something like that, sort of like innocently, as if they're absolutely straight on the up and up, and it's just a small mistake and they didn't realize it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's probably the best way to do it, is walk in and say, listen, I spoke to this and I found that there's several issues, the mistakes on my salary, and I really wanted us to fix this because I found out 1, 2, 3, and I'd like us to fix it. Okay, that's what I would do, but also take in consideration that they might not want to do that, right? So
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, more questions or vacation days? Let's go on vacation days. Okay.
Only one question, but you
Yes.
mentioned the website of Koshut. Is
Yeah.
it an official website?
It is an NGO. It's a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. The information is impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good. They've become a
Okay.
sort of like the sort of recognized as a leader in information, in this kind of information, on understanding what your rights are. They're not part of the government. Okay, it's not a government.
Yeah, I know. Because at the Jewish Agency, we
Yeah.
already faced that something wasn't exactly that way that they wrote.
Oh, you found a mistake?
Yeah.
Okay, that can happen with anyone.
Yeah, of course. Just
Yeah.
I
Also
wanted to
in
know.
government sites, websites as well, there's loads of mistakes as well. But yeah, but you can let them know, you can ask about it, you can write to them, I'm assuming. So yeah.
Okay.
But again, I will say this, I'm not a labor lawyer, and anything more complicated, you should be talking to a lawyer who specializes in labor law. Okay, so if it's anything complicated and you have to deal with a issue, then I would suggest you consult with a labor lawyer. Does that make sense? I'm expecting yes, Shirley, of course it makes sense. What are you
Yeah,
talking
Shirley, of
about?
Of
course.
course.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so vacation days, annual vacation days are given based on how long you've been working. Okay. So it's on seniority, right? So for instance, okay, here it is. There's a list. I'm hoping this hasn't changed in the last few years. Okay. Okay, so if you're working from like the 1st to the 4th year that you're working in a company, they're supposed to give you 16 calendar days.
I'm
What's
sorry.
16 calendar?
Is it according to the law? Because
Yes.
as far as I
Yeah,
knew,
it's
it was
minimum.
12.
It's minimum. Yes, it's according to the law, it's minimum.
As far as I knew, it was 12 days. Each month,
Yes,
1 day.
you're right. You're right. It's 12 days. So how much is 16 days, calendar days? It would be 16 would be 12 days plus 2 Saturdays and Sundays. That's 16. So it's calendar days, not netto.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you're right. You're absolutely right. It's 12. It's 12 single days or 16 days, including Friday, Saturday. There's like 2 weekends in between the 16 days, right? Because 14
Okay.
is 2 weeks, right? Okay. Okay, so on the 5th year, you get 16 days, not calendar days, but like real days, like days. Okay, working days. You get 16 working days off. So it would be like 16 Monday to Friday or Sunday to Thursday or whatever. And then it goes up to, I'm sorry, I keep on moving it because I'm looking at your pictures and your the gallery to see you guys, and it's sort of like running away from me. So you can see here that it goes up, but it gets up to a maximum of 28 days. Okay, so if you get up to the 8th year and forward, you will get an extra day per year, but up to a maximum of 28 days. And that makes sense because if you don't, eventually you will get the whole year free, right? Well, not the whole year because you won't be working 350 years, but you get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. I need to improve my sense of humor, right? I need to get better jokes. Okay. So you are entitled to travel expenses. I think this is an old price. I haven't checked it again. I think it's a little bit higher than that. The travel expenses, they have to pay you the sort of travel expenses there and back to work, okay? But it's like the minimum according to the law for having a bus, sort of like a daily bus pass, something like that, okay? So questions about travel expenses, because it does differ if you have a car, it does differ in certain places. Sometimes you get car allowance, sometimes there's all sorts of things, but the minimum required by law is you get paid for every day that you work travel expenses, according to how much it costs at the bus stop, right? The
וגם
current
קשור
price.
למרחק, לא? how much
Yes, yes, yes.
אם נגיד אתה לא צריך, אז אתה עדיין יכול לקבל את זה? כאילו אם אתה נגיד מגיע מהבית גר 10 דקות מהבית.
Yes.
כן? גם אם אתה...
Even if you walk, yeah, even if you walk to work, you can get it. You should
גם
be
אם אתה
getting it.
גר ממש קרוב.
Yeah. Yep.
וואי, הם חייבים
Sorry,
לתת לך.
Rima, it's a English speaking group. Sorry for the, but they
Yeah.
don't
I will
understand.
I will translate. So the question was, even if I work like very, very close to home and I can walk to work, am I still entitled to that money? And the answer is yes. Okay. They have to pay you daily travel expense. Okay, next. Sick leave. Yay. So the law states that you, if you miss days because you're sick and you can provide a letter from the doctor, you will be paid sick days. I think the law changed recently, so it's not exactly updated here. I think it changed that today you can get it from day one. Before it was, you can only get paid on the first day, you get paid nothing. On the second day, 50, and on the third day, 50, and fourth forward, 100. I think today it was changed so that on the first day already you can start getting that. So it'll be 50, 50, 100, 100. Got it?
Yes.
And if you have a sick child, a sick parent, a sick husband, a sick wife, you're entitled to take sick days in order to take care of them. Okay, so it's not only that you have to be sick, you can take care of sick people, sick family members, right? Okay. Pension fund, yay. Okay. So the pension fund works in this way. The employer has to put in 18.5% of your salary, and you have to put in 6%. This was changed recently, okay? This number is no longer relevant, okay? This is the relevant number. Today, an employer has to put in 18.5% of your salary for your severance pay and your pension, okay? So your severance pay would be 6%, and the pension would be the rest, okay? Items that are not included in calculations would be like travel, car allowance, overtime, etc. Okay, now this is really important to remember, because if you get a lot of, like some places would offer you like, okay, you'll get a base salary and then you get extra and then you get overtime and then you do this and this and this. You need to try and get your salary to include as much as possible in it, because if you don't, you will not get the pension and the other stuff on that. Okay, so you need to get them to collect it all into one piece and not to sort of divide it into different sections, because for the other stuff you will not get the pensions and everything else, and the severance pay, etc. Okay. All right. Also, the law states that if you have a pension fund already, that you're moving from another company to another company, your company has to pay immediately to continue this fund. On the other hand, if you're just starting a new job and you don't have a fund, then after 3 months, they can start paying the pension fund, but they have to do it retroactively, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Details, details, details. Okay. Income tax. So the only money that an employer can take away from you is income tax and health insurance to Bituach Leumi. Okay? So you have to pay that because it's the law and it's calculated according to your salary. The income tax works in Israel on, they call it in Hebrew, madrigot, which are steps. It's like it goes higher. Like if, for instance, I'm just giving you numbers, it's not the real numbers, but for example, if you work up until 7,000 shekels a month, you pay almost no taxes, and then after that you pay for the extra 5%. After that you pay for the extra of the extra 10%, etc., etc., etc. Okay, it goes up until 50%. Okay. But normally 50% are for people who pay a lot of money, who get a lot of money. So you'd be happy to pay so much tax. Okay? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Tax calculated incrementally on a yearly basis, month salary of 5%, and everything else goes up. Tax credit, right? And that's what we were talking about. Remember, Rima, I think you asked me. No, maybe somebody else asked me about it. About periphery. If you're living in certain areas, you might be eligible for tax credit as a citizen living in the periphery, like in Rahat or Eilat or whatever. And if you do that, you get more tax credits, which means you will get less, you will have to pay less salary. Okay? Like each tax credit is a certain amount, and your points are calculated by the amount, and then you get a return for that. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Questions? No? Excellent. Fantastic. But I like questions, so ask me. Okay? Okay, so we're talking about recovery days. I think I mentioned it before. After you finish your first year working for a company, you're entitled to get once a year recovery pay, recovery days. It's like Havra'ah, which comes from the word health. It's like health days. It's like 5 days a year that you accumulate by tenure, again, like the other one, by seniority, and you will be getting per day either 418 or 471, according to whether you work for the private or public sector. Okay? It depends how the company wants to pay. Some companies pay it extra every month. Some pay it in August, like, once a year. And that's when you get extra pay for health benefits. Like, you've worked hard, here it is, go rest. Okay? Do something nice for yourself. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about termination. Do you guys want to talk about termination?
No.
Or is it not
No.
relevant?
Not
Just
relevant.
looking, not relevant. I'm looking at the time. We have 20 more minutes. I'll just say that with termination, you have a right of hearing. They have to tell you what you've done wrong. They have to give you a warning. They have to give you an option to explain yourself and to maybe convince them to remain. And if it doesn't work after that, they can fire you. Okay? But they have to give you notice. And the notice is like a table thingy, which I think I put in. Okay, that we talked about. Severance pay. Okay. So if you've worked 11 months, you're entitled to severance pay, which is 1 month per year. Okay, for a monthly full-time job. Okay, it's different if you're a worker, an hourly worker, if you're a daily worker, it's calculated differently. But the idea is that if you're you're supposed to get paid for the time that you will be so that you can have time to look for a job. Okay, and so that thing is actually, remember that we were talking about the money that is being sent to the pension, and then we talked about 18 point something % for the pension. That includes severance pay, okay, which stays in your account when you're fired, because that will cover your severance pay when you leave. Okay, so it's sort of accumulated as you work. It's a new law. Once it didn't work out that way, but they changed it, and that's the way it is now. They're forcing all employers to put the money away for if there happens to be a day where they decide to fire you, and they have to pay you every year 1 month. So if you've worked for 10 years in a company, you're supposed to be getting 10 years worth of salary. 10 months worth of salary. Is that great or what?
Yeah, it is. It sounds perfect.
Right? It's nice. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So, anything interesting here? Nope. Yeah.
Sorry, the employer has to pay this price only if they want the employer. So if I
only
quit,
if they fire them, yeah.
yes, if I am quitting, I'm not getting it, just if they fire me, right?
Supposedly, but today with the fact that they're being asked to put it into a pension fund, normally they leave it. And it's something that you can set up at the beginning, sort of like if they fire you, you can stay with the money. You can take the money.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so looking at the provide a statement of period of time that you work for the employer, that's important, because if you get fired and they're firing you, they have to give you a letter of termination for you to be able to go to Bituach Leumi and get Avtala. Do you know what Avtala is? Is when you
I
get from the
think also
government
the
6 months.
Bituach Leumi, this is the national insurance, health insurance,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Not health insurance.
No,
No.
insurance, national insurance.
National insurance, yeah. So that the idea is if you fired, you will have money every month for 6 months in order to be able to look for a job and find a new job. Okay, there are certain details, but I will not go into it. It is complicated, but just know that the idea exists, and if that happens, then you know it has to be looked a little bit further into. But you are entitled to a termination letter, because without that letter, Bituach Leumi will not give you the money. So you have to have that letter. Okay?
Wait,
Yeah.
if I work in a place and if they אם הם מפטרים אותי, אז they need to pay me money?
Yes. If you've worked there for a year, like 11 months, then yeah.
Okay.
The
How
severance
much
pay, right? They have to do two things. They have to give you notice according to how long you've been there. And this has to happen no matter how long you work for them. But severance pay is after a year. Okay?
How
You're not
much? Like
entitled to
it's 1 month?
You're
It's
not
payment on...
entitled to severance pay after 6 months.
But how much they need to pay me, and when they need, how much time before they they need to say me, like, you go out?
Okay, so I've got a table at the we'll see the table next on exactly the dates or whatever. You've got that information. Okay, we'll go through that. It's just numbers, so I'll show you
Okay.
the thing. Here it is. There you go. Okay, so they have to give you a written notice of dismissal. So it could be by email or by letter or whatever. And then in the first 6 months, they have to give you 1 day notice per each month. Then after the 7th month, they have to give you 2.5 days per month. So if you are if you're working there for 7 months, how many days notice are you supposed to get?
70 and a half.
Calculation.
17 and a half. 17 and a half.
17 and a half?
It's a 7 days, yes.
No, it's
7
8 and a
months.
half.
2.5 days
7
per
months.
month.
No.
17 and a half.
No, it's only for the 7th to the 11th month. So the first 6 months is 1 day.
Okay, I understand.
And then an additional, the 7th month changes only from the 7th month, you add a 2.5. Okay, so it would be 6 days for the
Yes.
first 6 months, plus another 2.5 days for the 7th month. So it would be 8.5 days.
Yeah.
Okay, but once you get to the 11th month, they have to give you a month's notice. Let me see this. Did I write it down? Oh my God, I'm jumping from one thing to another. Okay, yeah, 1 year onwards. Okay, excellent. So if nuances. They cannot fire you when you're on sick leave. They cannot fire you because you're sick. They cannot fire you when you're on army leave. They cannot fire you if you are pregnant on your pregnancy holiday or whatever it's called. What's it? Maternity leave.
Maternity,
Yes,
yeah.
I remembered the word. Oh my God. Yeah, maternity leave. Okay, so all of these things, those are the times that you as an employer or employee are protected, and they're not allowed to fire you at that time. Okay, yeah, they have to wait for you to finish your sick days, come to work, and then they have to do the shimua to let you know the whole tutti. Okay, yeah. There are other circumstances where you decide you don't want to continue to work, but you will still get, it'll still be as if you're being fired. An example is if you work for a factory and they decide to move the factory down 60 kilometers south. Okay? And so it's called constructive termination. It's resignation, which is compelled by an employer because something is worsening, either the employment conditions or the employment situation. Okay, so if, for instance, they want to tell, they say to you, listen, we've decided to lower the salary by 10%, and from tomorrow, that's what you're going to get. Okay? You don't have to stay there.
שירלי, הזום שלנו עוד מעט הולך להסתיים, אז רק תראי, או שאני אעשה לום חדש, או שפשוט...
לא, we'll do it in 11 minutes. We'll do it. Okay, we can do it. Okay, so quick. Okay. Oh, I love that. Oh, I like stories. Okay. That might make me be a little later than, okay, but quickly, okay? This case was very interesting because a person was picked upon by his employee, made his life hell, and so he decided to leave the job. Once he left the job, he can actually demand, in this case, the woman that was working got compensation And also she got a letter of termination because despite the fact that she resigned, it was because of the treatment that she got, right? So it's understandable that she can't continue to work there. And so it's like the instance where they change something for worse in your in your job or in whatever elements of your payment, compensation, etc. Okay, so that's very interesting. I like this case. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to jump that because I'm hoping that they won't do that. But if they do, if you don't get your salary on time, they have to pay you if they're withheld for over 9 days, which is why they're not allowed to pay. I think it was Rima who asked, or maybe never mind. She asked about, oh my God, I'm stuck. Okay. So she asked about when is the last day? Can someone pay you on the 15th? The answer is no, because the 9th is already the last day. That from the 10th day onwards, they will have to pay a fine for every day that they are late. Okay? They're not allowed to withhold your salary. Next. Okay, hold on. Something weird is going on here. Okay. All right. Okay, we talked about this. Smoking. Do you guys want the info on smoking? Is it interesting? You're not allowed to smoke at work. And if your employer smokes, he has to provide a space for smoking so that it doesn't disturb the other workers. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, next. Okay.
About the electric cigarettes? What about the electric, or how to say, cigarettes? The same law?
Oh, yeah. I think it is the same because today it's proven that it's also unhealthy.
I know, but I'm just asking because there are many places that,
it's smoking. Yeah, it's smoking. Yeah, absolutely. Like maybe a joint is okay, but okay. So so if you have a managerial job, I'm telling you this because you need to know the law in Israel changed. If you have a managerial job, you cannot turn around and do something and let something illegal happen in your workplace and say, oh, I didn't know. I didn't see it. Okay? You cannot. So you have a responsibility for anything untowards that happens, any accidents, any criminal liability. You can be sued even though it's the company and not you. So if you're in charge of this thing, you need to make sure that things are on up and up. Okay, so if like your boss asks you to do something illegal, you tell him, listen, sunshine, I could sit in jail. I'm not willing to do it. Okay, got it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the management prerogative is the fact that he can conduct, a manager can conduct, or an owner of a business can conduct his business the way he wants to, okay? As long as it fits into all the legal stuff, but he can ask you to do certain things within sort of like normal scope and change things or require you to come to work at 5, sort of like at 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. That's part of his prerogative as an employer. Okay. It's like the question that I was asked about overtime. That's the prerogative. Okay. He can change something in the way work is being done, and it's his right to do so. Okay. Questions? Okay. So these are the kind of things, right? Decision to take annual vacation, reorganizing the workplace, changing location of the workplace. That's his prerogative. So you can't complain that he's moved from Haifa to Tel Aviv. He can do that if he wants to. Okay, but it's logical. So we're not going to go into it. What time is it again? How much do we have still? I'm looking at this, 5 minutes. Okay, so prevention of sexual harassment is also his responsibility. And here are all the online sources, which you will get. Ah, why is that doing that? Okay, okay. What happened? Oh my God, did it go to the end? Did we finish? Oh my God, we're finished. I did it. Asya, I did it. I finished on time. Yes. Questions, people, you have 4 minutes to talk to me before he throws us out.
I can talk with you after that and we'll ask some questions. I know what хабарчик разманывали, если вот кто-то мешает.
Sure, if it doesn't throw us out, then certainly, and if not, that you can phone me. It's not a problem. You can contact me online.
Before Ima asks her question, how can I reach you? I have a very specific question, which I think I will need you as a consultant. So can you give us your
Yes, definitely. Here are my details. No, you can't see them, can you? But I will
right now.
Let me see if they're here. Let me see if I can send it to you on the chat.
Great. I have saved it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Pleasure. Excellent. More questions?
Can you send us the presentation?
Yes, of course, of course, of course, of course. You'll get all the details. More questions?
Yeah, surely, why not? Vacation. Let's say if I don't want to take the vacation off for the first year I start working, I want to transfer to the next year. Can I do that?
It's the prerogative of the company to decide if you are or if you can or can't. It depends on the company. Some companies allow that. Some companies allow part of the time to go forward. Some allow you to get money instead of
So I can
that
cash
if you
out,
prefer, if you prefer cash instead. But yeah, but it's a company decision. It's not law. The only thing that they cannot do is they cannot not give you time off. Do you know what I'm saying? If you want to take time off, they have to allow you to take your holidays so that you can refresh yourself, whatever have you. That they have to do. They cannot not give it to you. They cannot say to you, listen, we don't want you to go home. I mean, we don't want you to take a vacation. We'll pay you. We'll give you the money for that vacation, you know, for the vacation days. That they're not allowed to do because then they will pay twice. Okay? All right. That was another interesting court case. Where they paid twice because they stopped the people from taking leave, from taking time off. So they're not allowed to do that. You have a right to rest.
All right.
Yeah.
One more question. What's the employee obligation if I want to give him a notice to the company? Let's say find a new job. And
the same that he has to give you, you have to give him. It's the same amount of time. Yeah. If you're working there for a whole year, you have to give him a month's notice.
Month's notice.
Okay. And it has to be written.
Written.
Yeah. Today, WhatsApp, email, same thing. You can write it in WhatsApp and email. It doesn't have to be like a proper letter and hand it in or whatever. It's probably even better if it's WhatsApp or whatever, because then you've got it.
Yeah, of course, to stay in the
proof.
Improvement, yeah.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. We've done it. We've made it in 2 hours. Asya, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to these wonderful people, the Olim and the Jewish agency and the wonderful things it does, and Asia, because she's wonderful and she does the most amazing things. And I'm here. And if you need any help with any questions, you can chat to me directly on email, WhatsApp, whatever you want.
Shirley, thank you very much. It was amazing as usual.
Thank you.
And please send me your presentation. I will forward it to Anita. And Anita, you are welcome to send it to all of our guests today. And have a good evening. And Shirley, have a good, quiet evening in Israel.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's right. Most of you are still overseas, right?
No.
Oh gosh.
From
Yeah.
Europe.
So you're not running in with the sirens down to the shelter. Yeah.
Yeah, so really thank you very much, and we'll see you maybe in the next our webinar. We have it tomorrow too, and after tomorrow, and
We'll be here.
so great.
Yeah.
So
Thank
really
you very much,
Anita. Thank you, special.
Shirley, and thank
Okay,
you.
and see you.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good
Yeah.
evening.
Anyone who
Asya.
wants to stay, if it doesn't throw us out, I can stay here and answer your questions if you want. Okay.
Okay,
Is that
Shirley, so
okay,
I
Asia?
make
You
you a
stay
host maybe?
there? Yeah, make me a host.
If somebody has some questions, if not, as maybe you're host for now. You're
Yeah.
you're already host. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Great. Thank you, Asya. Thank you very,
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone. Lovely meeting you. Cheerio.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Judith, Aniko.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me.
Okay, it's me, Aniko, and I asked you for your kishur, but if we can stay, I will ask. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, I will say about my situation, and you will
Okay, that's great.
tell me if you can help me or not. I'm working in I'm in Israel for 7 years now. I'm working in a little company who are
What does the
helping.
company do?
They're helping Israelis to get Hungarian citizenships. It's called
Okay.
Ungarim, and yes, so it's a service that we are helping Israelis to get Hungarian citizenship, and the company is a situation that. There is a chance that, let's say that I will get the company as an owner. There is an owner who has to shut down the company because of several reasons. It doesn't matter, and they would like to, let's
Sell
say,
the company?
they cannot close it because we have a lot of clients in the process, so they cannot close it just to shut down from one day to another. So the solution they were thinking of, I'm working there for 3 years now, and the solution they were thinking of, that I will have the ownership actually in madragot, in steps, that for the first step, actually also now it is me and 3 more employees who are working there, and the relatives of the owner are trying to manage it, but it's hard for them because everyone has their own business. So in steps, that in the first step, I will manage it. I will be the manager, and from the income, I will have some percentage, and so on. And at the end, it will be my company. So actually, as I saw your background, that you are an organizational consulting, I'm sure that I will need consulting about this. My question is that there is two ways. Or I will be the owner of the same company. It's a Ba'am, and I will be the owner of the same company, or I will open a new company and I will get all the sources. What do they have? Do Can you say me the advantages and the disadvantages of getting a new company or staying with the same
Right. If it's the same company and it doesn't, and even if it changes hands, but it stays the same company, the new owners are liable for everything that everything that is happening. So if, for instance, they didn't pay the pension and they didn't do all the things correctly, you will be getting that. You will have to fix that.
Okay.
Okay, because
Okay.
you're taking all the responsibilities, all the credits and all the responsibilities. So you
Okay.
have to make sure that you check the books. You need a financial specialist to make sure that this is good, that there aren't any problems. I would, okay, because that's an issue.
Is
If you move,
accountant a roe cheshbon, is he someone who can check it, or I need specially a financial specialist for this? Or if I have an accountant, that's roe cheshbon, right?
yeah,
An accountant, can he check it? What should I ask from the company to show me? Is it only
you need the books.
income and
No, you need the
outcome?
books. No, you need all the books. You need all the books.
Okay, so there are books physically, something where they register all the incomes, outcomes, and everything.
It should be on a system. They don't have it on a
Okay.
system.
I'm sure they have, just I don't have a lot of knowledge, so I'm sure they have.
Okay.
They were once a big company, so I'm sure that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Okay,
No,
so
no,
this
no.
is
Okay.
this is one that I need to know. What did they do in the past? Because if I have the same company,
Yeah, and you need a
maybe
very good
now-
lawyer, and you need a very, very good lawyer to protect you from anything that because you don't know what happened before,
Okay,
and you need to see how you protect yourself from anything that happened before you took over. Okay?
okay,
You have to have that. So you have to have a lawyer and you have to have an accountant that checks the books properly. They're lawyers and accountants.
oh,
There are people who are lawyers and accountants together.
okay,
They do both.
okay,
But I have an accountant who works with Olim Chadashim, and he works with them. Maybe you can also talk to him, because you need to have a good sort of like sort of relationship, a good sort of like thing
sure,
with whoever
sure.
you're going to work with. You need to trust him.
Yes.
You need to know he's good. So I can give you a few numbers. So you talk to them, you
Okay.
see
Mhm.
how they are, and then you decide whether you want to go forward with
Yeah.
them or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be an Ola Hadasha for 7 years in Israel, right? Is it
Right.
still Ola Hadasha if I'm 7
Yes.
years?
I think 7 years is, I think
Feel
it's up to
so.
10
I
years.
feel so. I feel
Yeah.
so. But okay. Okay,
Yeah.
and if I decide to have a new company and not continue with
Old
the
company, then you
yes,
have to have a sales agreement written by a very good lawyer who will
okay,
make sure that you do the move across
uh-huh.
and that you can do it well. Okay.
But as far as I feel, you prefer that way to
No,
continue.
no,
No.
no. The best information, the best advice would be from a lawyer who
Okay.
specializes in business,
Okay.
in
Okay.
creating agreements, because
Mhm.
some lawyers, because the lawyer could say, yeah, I could create an amazing contract that will protect you, and then you can keep the company as is. And maybe he will turn around and say to you, no, don't do that because this and this and this. And that is to do with law and not with business. So
Uh-huh.
you need to protect yourself properly.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
ABC. That has to
Okay.
be. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
That's the most important.
Okay.
There are other options you can think of, like for instance, teaming up with other organizations that do the same and sort of going into partnership with them as well. But that's complicating. I think you want to do this. You want to run it.
Actually, yes. What is the advantage if I do this partnership? I'm just
You would
asking.
have a partnership means people who can market. Because I'm assuming that there are three sections to this thing. The first is the marketing, getting in new clients who want to get their citizenship. The
Yes.
other one is the administration. And the other one is working with overseas in order to get all the paperwork and then the whole tutti, right? The service. And I think
Also,
this is,
this is here in Israel. We do
yeah,
the paperwork as well, so we don't
yeah.
actually move overseas much.
Yeah, okay. So you can you do it here, right?
Yeah.
So the advantage would be more people who can do more work and maybe get more clients. If someone
Okay.
is a good salesperson who can bring in clients and
Yeah.
can let you run the situation, then you can be like an operations manager and they can be the marketing. And then that would probably be more helpful because now two people are aiming to get this working. It's just sort of like there are advantages, disadvantages to every option you will ever take. Okay, so the advantages will be more manpower, more knowledge coming in. Disadvantages if there's a problem and in most sort of like if you don't work well together, sometimes there are problems and issues and people fight, and that kind of thing. So like everything in life, there are pros and cons for every option.
Sure. Okay, thank you so
But
much.
that is wonderful. I like the idea that they're doing that. That's fantastic. But yeah, your best bet is a good lawyer, a good agreement, a good lawyer for agreements. That
Okay.
specializes in business law.
Okay. Maybe you can
I
give me
will
some.
certainly help.
Okay.
I will certainly
I
try
will
and help you.
contact you in email or in WhatsApp. I have your
Excellent.
and
Excellent,
I
Nico.
will ask.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Nico. Cheerio. Chaba, you've been from the beginning and to the end.
Yes,
Oh
I
my
did.
gosh.
I enjoyed it.
That's great. Thank you.
We look forward to move on.
Are you making Aliyah, Chaba?
Yes, we're gonna move probably December.
December.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
have to marry with my wife. We've been together 20 years, and unfortunately, you have to get married before I'm be able to do the Aliyah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you do. You do. Yeah.
So now I have to wait 1 year, and we get married December, so I have to wait till December. But I got all the paperwork ready, so
Congrats. That's
yes,
nice.
we're ready to go.
And your beautiful dog as well, who you'll be bringing with you, who's
Yes,
wonderful.
yes, it's gonna be a little bit complicated. Oh yeah, I would like to ask you. I don't know how
No, it's not complicated. It's not complicated. Israel accept animals very quickly. You just need to have the right injections and what are they called?
Yeah, the passport, the traveling
Yeah,
passport.
just a passport. Yeah, just a travel passport with
And the
the
question I have,
inoculations.
if we go in over there as Aliyah, as an Olim, are the centers they gonna accept the dogs, or we have to find a place we leave right away?
That is another question. Yeah, that might be a problem. But on the other hand,
Because it's a family,
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
let's see.
came to Israel with 3 dogs.
Oh, do you?
I came to Israel with 3 dogs. 3 cockers we had
Oh,
back
Spaniel,
in
yeah,
South
nice.
Africa. Spaniels. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If let's say we're gonna leave the dog behind for a month, are we eligible to go back and collect them, or we're not able to leave Israel?
Of course you can. You're Jewish, right?
Yes, born and raised.
You can come and go, whatever. It's not like other countries where you have to stay or whatever. You can do whatever you want.
So
They are receiving Saklita, and as far as I know,
The
there is
Salklita. Oh, Aniko, thank you.
you will
Okay.
receive a certain amount of money for half a year or something like that, and in that period, if you would like to leave the country, as far as I know, or you won't get that payment, or you need to. I don't
Pause
remember.
it until the next
Yes,
time. I
something like
would
that.
speak to the Jewish agency to,
Yes,
you know,
to Anita.
to
Anita will
Anita.
let
okay,
you
Yeah.
know.
I
She'll
will.
give you the info, but in terms of not in terms of receiving Salklita, yeah, but in terms of can you leave and come forward because your passport will no, you can do whatever you want. Okay, but the Salklita is a different issue
Yes,
that I have
yes.
absolutely no idea about.
That's what you
Not my
receive when you make Aliyah.
Yeah, I pay
Yeah,
2,000
yeah,
shekel a month for 2 years. That's the
yeah,
deal right now at the
yeah.
moment. But it's only a short period. Like let's say I'm going back to Hungary, just collect the dog and coming back the same day.
Sure, you can do it. I'm sure that, as far as I remember, but Anita knows much more than me, that if you can't leave for more than like that, for more than a month or something like that, for few days, I'm sure they will let you go and
Yeah,
come back.
I don't think there's a
Even
problem leaving
even
for a
with,
few days.
even
It's like
with
you want
your
to go on holiday,
Hungarian
of
passport.
course.
Yes, even with your Hungarian passport, you won't need, as far as I know, in the beginning, you will have Israeli passport. We had Israeli passport in 2 months, not from the very first day. From the very first day, you have Israeli citizenship, but passport you will have only for 2 months or something like that. This is what happened to me. I'm not sure that this how it's worked, but
In short, get all those questions down and talk to Anita
Yes,
and
ma'am.
get the information from her. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. In Israel, there are some like what's it called? Like dog, sort of like it's called like it's like a doggy sort of hotel, right? Some people do that, but it costs a lot of money in Israel. So,
Oh, tell me about it. Over here too in Sweden, a fortune.
yeah, if it's a fortune, then yeah.
No,
But
we actually gonna do the Aliyah from Budapest because Sweden is crazy. It's not even an Israeli embassy over here. It's not a kosher store. They don't even let me go in the synagogue because they don't know me. It's horrible what they're going over here, man.
really? Oh my
Oh,
God.
the first embassy is in Copenhagen in Denmark.
Wow. I
I
didn't
got
know
no
that.
problem with the Muslim, but they hate me so much. I got Mogen David. I always wear it. I never shame it. I used to be a boxer, so I don't scare for anybody.
You don't scare easy.
No,
Yeah.
ma'am, not at all. I teaching kids actually for boxing,
Ah,
and
nice.
and but it's crazy. I always have to look at myself, that makes sure nobody attack me.
Yeah.
Because the Muslims the team up, these young
Yeah,
kids,
they do.
13,
They're
14 years old.
oh my God. Yeah. It's crazy what's going on in the world at the moment. Yeah.
But we got so much hate for nothing.
Yeah. 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 We do all over the world. It's a darn terrible thing.
That's why we want to move back to Israel because further as a country, I don't have to shame be a Jew.
Yeah.
I can
You're
practice.
right. You don't have to.
Where are you from, Shirley?
Absolutely. You mean like before I came to
Where
Israel?
before you said
South
you moved
Africa.
South
South
Africa. I've been Johannesburg and Cape Town.
I lived in Johannesburg. Yeah.
Johannesburg, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. All of South Africa. I think it's the most beautiful country in the world.
We used to
Okay,
live in
we'll argue
Australia.
about that another time.
We used to live in Australia and Sydney and Perth, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure those places are great, but still I find Cape Town and
It's a pure nature.
it's
You
pure,
gotta give it.
yeah, it's wonderful. It's truly wonderful.
I like animals because I used to have monkeys. I collecting reptiles, Asian water monitors and other stuff, coming from Africa. Yeah, I love it. I was a big fan. My dream was actually get a hyena once, to get the hyena.
Oh, if you come to
Get it.
Israel, you can have as many hyenas as you want. Do
More
you know
more
why?
than that.
Do you know why? Because
No.
we've got them in the streets here.
Really?
Yeah, we've got cats and hyenas in the streets
Oh,
and
Lord.
rats, but all the hyenas are now killing my cats. I've got wonderful cats in the street that I love, that I take
Mhm.
care of, and they're being picked one by one and they're being all killed by the hyenas. So you would
Oh.
love to come here and you can pick any hyena you want. You can have fun with it. They're sitting out there at 4 o'clock in the morning as a
You should see my wife
choir.
laughing at that.
Everybody
Oh, man.
hears them in this whole area. It's
I look
crazy.
forward. I love animals.
Yeah, you'll love it. Just come to Tel Aviv or Ramat Gan and you will love it.
I am planning Haifa. It's my because
Haifa, you will have a lot of
a
pigs
lot of pigs.
and a lot of hyenas. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of pigs in the streets.
Really?
Wild boars.
Wild
It's
boars.
what this nobe in Hungarian. It's not big. It's what this no.
Wild boars. What this no? What this no?
Boar. It's a boar. Like in
Boar.
English.
Exactly. Boar. Yeah,
Boar.
boar.
It's like a big pig, not a small pig. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's very better hunting it. I had friends, Maoris, we used to hunt in Western Australia in Perth. Because I was working in the mine.
I get a disease when I hear about hunting because I'm vegan. And
Oh,
to me, and
sorry to
oh
hear.
my God, this vegan woman who's eating as if meat and as if cheese, but to me, animals are precious, all of them. So
Okay, thank you. I have to go. So thank you very
have
much.
a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you for your
My pleasure.
coming.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And
Honor of mine.
Good to
wonderful
listen
meeting
to
you
you.
guys. Take care and
All
have a
right.
wonderful
Take care,
evening.
Shirley.
Bye
See you on the
bye.
phone.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care.
להתראות.
Cheerio. להתראות. Oh, there we go. Bye bye.